Anything? Hey, there we go. All right, awesome. Welcome, everybody. My mic should be working now. I'm not sure what it was doing, but things got fixed there. I think it was probably related to my Windows update today. So I spent the hour today that it took to install that. I have no idea what they were doing. They must have been reinstalling Windows for how long that took. But anyway, welcome. Welcome everybody to DevChatter. My name is Brendan, and today we're going to write some more C# code, as is our usual thing here. Not to say that we don't sometimes write JavaScript and other things like that as well, but I wanted to give everybody a heads up about things that we've got planned, things we're doing, and then jump into some code. So now that our mic problem got resolved, let me adjust one other thing. I don't think you guys are actually getting the audio right now. Which makes me wonder, maybe it was a, is it this one? No. Yeah, you guys aren't getting the background music. Hey! Thank you, Crimson Green. That is nice. Good way to start the stream right there. Thank you for the 3-month subscription. Greatly appreciated. And welcome, Bane, Open Window, Crimson Green, Async Awake. And if anybody else said something I didn't see in chat, welcome all the same, and I don't know why I didn't see your message. But here's the quick thing. So you guys should now have a little bit of background audio. So audio is now fixed. I'm guessing then something must have messed with all the devices on the system, so I'll need to check those. Luckily, you guys are getting video. So, what I want to talk about today is we are going to continue on our chatbot, which, by the way, is the chatbot that is in the chat with you. So if you want to talk to it, you can send it some commands and play with the bot while we are writing code on it. This is the live version, so this is actually running out of my Visual Studio right here. So, if there are bugs, anything that goes wrong, that is not surprising. We have a few outstanding bugs that we need to get to at some point, and we have, live changes we're making. So sometimes we're building a new feature, and I'll restart the bot well before that code is actually, ready for people to use. So you guys get the chance to play with stuff and have a little bit of fun with it. Welcome, AJ Ukraine. So I see everybody is starting to make their way in, which means it's a good time to chat about some of this stuff. So, what I wanted to talk about today, let's see, we don't have any pull requests we need to go over, and we don't have any issues that we definitely need to talk about, so I am going to jump over to our stream info section, and I want to talk to you about a couple of things. Either tomorrow or next week, I'm going to be doing, or not next week, it'll be the week after next, so early June, I'm going to be doing an Azure stream. So I am starting to reach out to the, what are they called? Cloud Developer Advocates at Microsoft to bring them in here to cover some Azure topics, as that I think would be some fun things for us to do. So I am talking with some of them right now and planning out what we can do for some streams. So we've got that coming up in the future. Other things that would be relevant to talk about, I've got a couple of other guests that I'm looking at bringing on. One of them you guys probably can figure out if you follow my GitHub account. Some people probably noticed that I created a devchatter.com repository because we are going to be building our own website here on the stream, because what else would we do on a coding stream other than actually build it on here? So my goal with this is I wanted to create this as a static site. So I want to use a static site generator, and I'm going to bring on the creator of one of those static site generators. We're going to put this on here. And then I am going to bring on one of the cloud developer advocates to show us some cool things that we can do once we have a static site. So I've got some fun plans for that already. In terms of doing the design for it, I want to try and get a designer that I know that's a pretty good designer that does a lot of speaking in the area. And what I'm tempted to do is build the site one way and essentially make a lot of design mistakes. So I want to work with her and come up with a lot of common issues that people have in designs where, like, we think it's cool, we think it's useful, we think it's good, and then I want to create the site that way and then bring her on for a stream so that she can show us how we can fix it, make it better, and why that design is not as good as we might think. So I want to pose that idea and see what we can do with that. So I think it'll be a cool one. So let me know what you guys think about that. And what else do I want to talk about before we jump into the code? I think those are the main things. Did we have any outstanding issues? There's this one, which I did comment about, but I am still going to do something. So Async Awake requested that I put the tech specs for my computer, which I'm probably going to do at some point. But some of the hardware actually in here is old because I use a desktop, and so I like upgrade pieces at a time. So some items of my computer are as old as like 4 years for some of them. I'm actually still running like a GTX 970, for example, in this thing. Not that the graphics card is all that important for developing the type of code that we do here. So, okay. So let's jump in. We're going to write some C# code. We're going to work on the bot. Yeah, to heat the room in the winter. It actually does heat up the room in the winter. Heck, it heats up the room right now. In fact, when I stream, I turn on. I keep an AC unit in here just to balance that, because like my house has AC everywhere, but computers in one room generate enough heat that this room ends up warmer than all the others. So, okay. So the branch I was planning on working on in our project is the one where we are adding in ASP.NET Core to it. So our project is running C# .NET Core, and the bot itself is currently running inside of a console application. Now that's not really a problem, because we don't need much more than a console application in order to get it to run. So the bot is actually, let me toss it on screen here, just this bot. It runs in the command line, and you'll notice it sends out some logging information as people use commands against it. And pretty much this isn't really its interface. This is more of just informational and has like its on-off, we'll say. But that's about all that's inside of the command window. All the rest of the configuration up to this point has been done through the chat. So, for example, you can get a list of commands by using the command commands, as you guys can see in the chat window. But you'll notice that I can do things like call it with CMD, or I can type in command, and either one works. And so we do this by using our alias command. So, and actually, let's see, do we have alias help? We do. Okay, so I pulled up the help text for our alias command, for example, and you'll see that the way it works is you can add and remove aliases to and from existing commands. So essentially the idea is we do our configuration of our bot in there right now. Well, we don't want that to be the only place that you can do it. The advantage of this is that a moderator in chat can actually make changes on the fly to a lot of the commands when we need them to. So if a moderator realizes, oh, we need to add that as a quote, or oh, we need to have a new simple message that, you know, prints out in response to something. So maybe we want to, you know, we're doing a special stream and they want to say like what we're doing or something like that. They could add a command for that, and then, you know, you could just call that to give the explanation. And so that's sort of what we're trying to do here, is make everything be controllable in here. So an example of a simple command that we have is our GitHub command, which gives you the link to our GitHub, github.com/devchatter. And then we also have one that's like our Discord, which is a link to our Discord account. So those are commands that we can create from within the chat. But obviously we don't want that to be the only way that we do this, so we're going to build a web backend to it, and I am hoping that Visual Studio helps me out here. When I click on this, I'm going to go to View, so I right-click on the web project, go to View, and I can say View in Browser, and yes, it got the right window! I have 3 windows open, so when it gets the right one, I'm always thrilled, because I do keep windows up on other monitors, and when Chrome got the right one, I'm happy. Okay. So this is the I'll call this the mocked up stub of an interface that we have that we're building as the backend for our bot. So we're probably going to move the whole bot into this and replicate that log information and other things like that in here. But we haven't done that part yet. What we have done... Baumilite, welcome. Thank you for following. Hopefully you're enjoying DevChatter. What we have managed to get in here, and I apologize if I butchered your name. If I did, tell me how to say it better, and I will say it better. What we are getting in here is the ability to make changes to things. So we want to be able to manage our content. So that's probably going to go in first. So let me give you an example. If we go in here, you'll notice that I made a folder of quotes and a folder of quiz questions and a folder for Hangman. So if we open up one of those, so let's say Hangman, we end up with a page that has our list of Hangman words. So these are all the words that are able to be used in our Hangman game, which we could take these and we could, for example, if we modify the table, we could add in things like point values. And once we start having point values, you can understand why we would want an interface for dealing with this. Because we might decide that some words are just harder than other words. For example, there are 3 near identical words, XUnit, NUnit, and JUnit, all look exactly the same. So if we play the Hangman game in chat, which I'll go ahead and start one, you can see that if we guess a wrong letter, it's going to go ahead and chime in with that's not in the word. Once we guess wrong enough times, we will end up essentially losing our game of Hangman that we're playing together. And so that is the concept there. Cute Ket, this is a primarily Twitch-only chatbot, but we are abstracted enough away from Twitch that we expect to be able to have the bot connect to other chat services as well. It's written in C#, and we are not connected to a bot framework. We wanted to go down to the metal and just build it ourselves, using our own ideas for how we could make it. So, yeah, so Cute Cat, we want to be able to connect to Discord at some point. In fact, we have an incomplete implementation of the Discord connection that I still need to go and work on, that I'm probably going to do on stream. Might do a little bit of it off stream just to make sure I can get it working first, because I haven't pulled this in yet. But one of our regular viewers tossed in a pull request for us and essentially implemented it, with connections to Discord. So, doesn't Discord bot made with Discord.js? We don't. So you should be able to connect to Discord using essentially whatever you want. Doesn't have to be JavaScript. Doesn't have to use a Discord.js. So ours is using C#. And there is an open source library already for connecting to Discord, so we're actually going to leverage that in our bot. So, whew. I have a feeling we're going to lose that game of Hangman. So, oh man, yeah, we're losing that game of Hangman. There's no question there. Okay, so also, I absolutely love this animation. We really got to thank James for pulling this one in there. It is so 90s that, I mean, it might be just a little bit too 90s. So, okay. Let's see. So we have that piece, and we have the exact... So I showed you the Hangman one. We have the same concept over in quotes, where we have the basic structure. Now, none of this is styled yet. So, I mean, this is just, black and white basic structure for data, nothing fancy. So you want to edit an entry, it's just got this. So nothing in here in the backend pages. We just stubbed this in real quick. So if anybody didn't see that, Retrobot, yes, exactly. So if anybody didn't see how we set these up, these pages that we created here took like 5 minutes to get the edit pages, detail pages, delete pages all set up. So basically no time to get us that. It was quite nice. And then I'm not going to open up quiz questions right now, although that reminds me I do need to make a note for myself to add more quiz questions. Okay, so we have that piece. There are a couple of things we want to add in. I want to get links to those. So manage heist game, manage quiz game. I put those here, but I actually think that they need to be top level items. So in this structure, that top level is inside of the shared section on layout. Cute Cat, yeah, this is open source. It is out on GitHub, github.com/devchatter, and we have a few projects in there. This is obviously the one called Chatbot. So actually might be called DevChatter Chatbot. So, yep, everything is out there. You can find it right here. So, and there's some information about contributing and things like that. Okay, so I want to adjust our nav bar, so I am going to add in a new section called Manage Games, and I'm actually just going to put it in /games for now. And since this has to be a page, I'm going to do /games/index because I want to make a folder for this. So I'm going to make a new folder and I'm going to call it games. And so this is the new structure for ASP.NET Core for anybody who hasn't seen it. WorldWake, welcome. WorldWake, you had a question for me on Discord that I don't remember what it was. So if you let me know, I would remember it being something that I thought I could answer on stream. So essentially, I want to create a new Razor page inside of this folder. And what this does, so the new way for Razor pages is they have a CSHTML file, which is a Razor file, and it is the front-end page. So think of it like the view for your for the page that you're doing. But the way that they route URLs to these is this is the URL. It's going to be /games/index, and obviously since index is the default, if you go to just /games, you'll get to this page. Now what's interesting is it actually makes a backend file too. But before anybody runs away in terror, this is not web forms. So there is no like messing around with state, and it's not tightly coupled to the front end either. So this is actually super, super lightweight, and Razor pages are some of what they're doing all the benchmarks on, and basically showing that even running on Windows, Linux, wherever you want to put .NET Core, it is actually crazy fast. So it is really nice, lightweight, and easy to work with. WorldWake, I think you asked something about .NET versions. Yes, that was it. You asked about .NET versions. Cute Cat, if you know any programming language that are even C-based, Java, C++, C, anything like that, even JavaScript, C# is going to look pretty familiar. So if you've used basically any of those, standard curly brace style language. So mainly the fact that the ID. So Ruby and Python, the Python will feel a little bit familiar. Also, it's just this one, it's curly braces instead of that, but a lot of the other parts of the languages are pretty similar. I've only played around a little bit with Ruby. I used to do a lot of Python though. They're all great languages. There are so many good languages out there. So Razor's a kind of templating for C#. So let me give you guys, so if you are wondering about Razor, essentially the way that it works is this is all HTML, and then you just kind of do @ and it intelligently figures out that this part of this is code right here. From the @ sign, the view data title, that is that is code, but it then figures out that this is not like subtract that value from it. This is treated as HTML markup. So it's very intelligent with how it distinguishes these things. The other thing that is unique about the way that Razor works here is they have these tag helpers inside of the HTML tag, inside of the HTML elements. So you'll notice that they all start with the ASP-prefix, and they all do something interesting. So if you want to do an anchor that links to one of our pages, you do ASP-page, and then you set it equal to this. So this is not a link to /games/index, so don't think that this is an href, because it's not. In fact, I have a feeling if I do this, and I type in foo, assuming my hand isn't off of that, then it's not going to fail compilation here, but we should see something weird with it on this page, I think. So let's go ahead and refresh this. So you'll see that that link just didn't work at all. It did not link to /games/foo, because that's not an anchor tag. It linked to nothing here. So if I do game/index though, and then refresh the page, and notice I don't need to compile or anything like that, I just need to refresh, you'll see that this value now links to games. And in addition to that, you'll notice that it didn't link to /index either, so it intelligently figured all of that out and got us lined up exactly where we needed to be. That's not to say I couldn't go to index, so they both work, it's just the default page is in effect here. So it's pretty cool. Markdown, that was it, yeah. I use Visual Basic, but I use Linux. Actually, if you run VS Code, you can use .NET Core and you could use C# over on Linux, so there's no reason, you can totally do all of this over on Linux on a Chromebook now, pretty much wherever you want. So, yeah. Welcome to the new world. Microsoft actually builds tech that works everywhere. Okay, so here's what I want to do now. I want to go and steal some code that we already wrote, because it does basically what I want to do. So rather than rewriting, I'm going to go gank this for now, and later we will be looking at this to words. We're going to be extracting out some kind of a template that these are both going to use. But for now, I want to just steal this because I want to do basically the same menu that we were doing over there. So, let's see. Now let's pull this. I don't need that whole thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the first section, and then I'm going to add a closing div on the end. Okay. Let's get all the spacing fixed up. There we go. So that is nice. I like it. So the thing that I also want to mention over here, so I mentioned that we have a code behind file kind of thing, but it's not like a web forms code behind file. It is actually defined right here. We tell it what, so we first tell it that it's a page. That indicates to it that this is a Razor page, which is a way of doing ASP.NET code. The next thing we've got here is the model, and this tells it which class to open up. So if I go to the definition of this, you'll see that it is my backend file. So, and Cute Cat, welcome. Thank you for following. So that is how this actually gets this structure. So it's kind of cool. And yes, VS Code does work. In fact, if you took a look at the Stack Overflow survey results, the most recent one, VS Code is actually somehow, it boggles my mind, like the top editor. Like somehow that jumped to top IDE, and I don't know. Overflow survey. So this survey that they did, where is technology? Development environments and tools. Somehow this happened. I don't know how this happened. But this is just crazy that those jumped up there. So I know many JavaScript developers that use Visual Studio Code now. So I guess they did some things right. Where's my CSS? Is a great question. We're not actually planning on doing that until we bring a designer in. So we're actually essentially leaving this as a blank slate for a design. So we're going to bring a designer on as a guest, and we're going to do that with a pair. You don't want me to design this myself, so we're leaving it mostly blank for now and just leveraging some Bootstrap in order to get us a basic structure. And yes, Notepad++ is in the list, I think because people indicated that as one of the ones that they use for some things. The data is not perfect on Stack Overflow's survey, but it gives you an idea of what people are using it all. And WTF Blood, I'm glad you are enjoying C# on Linux. Yeah. I know a lot of people that dislike Windows. I kind of sit there and I'm like, well, I enjoy all the operating systems. I think they're all good. I like Windows, I like Mac, I like Linux. They all do some great things well. So it's just what you're doing with them. Let's see, isn't that the kind of explain the survey? I use the IDE that comes with XF. Yes. So it's interesting stuff. So here's what I want to do. I want to chop these. We don't need we don't need that many links. We just need these ones. So manage the Hangman. Let's see. Manage Hangman game, manage Heist game, manage Quiz game. All right, sounds good. Let's see. We don't need the image on this page. We have a single div here. And let's see. Handle title, bot administration. That is not the title of this one. We want this one to be manage the Hangman game. And yes, we're going to have a panel on each one of these that's going to have basic configurations for the management of the game. And then within that panel, it's going to link to the page where we edit those specific things. And I'll show you what I mean by that in a second. So if we make another one of these, our second panel is not going to be manage Hangman game, it's going to be the Heist game. And then the last one is going to be our Quiz game. So we're going to do this, and we're going to say manage the Quiz game. Okay. So now, let's go ahead and do this. We're going to say configure cooldown. That's one of the things. And then one of the next ones is going to be set starting text. Okay, let me catch up for a second here. Don't we have any moderation in here? Worldwide, what do you mean by don't we have any moderation? We have some mods in here. We have a couple. And it's got 3 OSs on my Chromebook and now the SD card has Chromebook. Yes, we do have a Discord. There's a link to it, and if you ask the bot does have commands for all these sorts of things that you might ask. So there's a Discord, there's YouTube, there's Twitter, there's GitHub, and you can ask the bot for any of those, and it should respond. And I realize I should probably add some more misspellings of those. And welcome. Thank you for following. You'll notice over there that the bot figured it out, and Streamlabs has yet to give me the announcement for it. Welcome, Crimson. See, we mention the mods and they show up and start talking. Okay, so in the Managed Hangman game, we want to configure the cooldown, set the starting text, and maybe configure mask settings. Star versus underscore. So right now, when we use our Hangman game, which you'll notice that it puts in asterisks for all of the placeholders, but we could do underscores, for example, and achieve the same kind of thing. The only reason I use an asterisk is because it's a little more obvious how many letters there are for some of them. Whereas an underscore, it might be hard to tell, is that, three underlines or 4? So, I don't know what that word is. So, there are a lot of those words, I don't know what they are, that are in this set. Okay, next things. In this one, this is our Heist game. So we want to configure roles. Configure heists. So roles and heists. What else do we need to do for the heist game? Set cooldown. Anything else for this one? Set wait times. There we go. Oh, yeah, hey, did someone get it? Visual Studio, nice. Good job, everybody. Yeah, you all figured it out. It's Visual Studio. And, yeah, it automatically ends it when someone gets the last letter. You don't have to guess that one. So that's our Hangman game. We're eventually going to be putting that up on the screen, so that's part of why we're building a website here. We want to be able to put this code, have our Hangman game actually appearing on screen with a little animated guy probably that is actually being hanged on screen. Stick figure, obviously. So don't lose the game, because then there will be real consequences. I mean, for as real as that gets. Okay, so last thing, quiz game. So set cooldown. What else do we want in the quiz game? Edit questions. Edit questions. I can type, I promise. I have typed before, at least once or twice in my life. Manage the quiz game. What else do we want to... set cost for entry. Edit messages. Set wait times. Hangman game, heist game. Okay, cool. That ought to be nice. Let's take a look at our code now. So this page should now have some stuff. There it is. And I want to highlight again, for anybody that didn't notice, I don't actually have to do any recompile. But I want you to watch this output window for a second, because I do want to show you one cool thing. If I were to do this, and add in here, at view data, and say title, for example, and just put that right in there, and then I go back to the page, so I'm not going to hit the build key, and I'm going to refresh this. Where did I put it? Configure cooldown on this one. You'll see that it put in the word index. So it actually is adding, so I can pull this out and it will remove the word index. It should. I save, and I come back here, and I can run that, and it disappears. Now what's interesting about that is this the one where it shows it? Request finished. Where did it... So somewhere it builds it using... essentially, it's using a class running at runtime for the Roslyn compiler. It's actually the C# compiler class is what it is. And that C# James Francis, welcome, thanks for following. That C# compiler class is actually inside of ASP.NET, and it's actually, so it's going to run, and it's actually going to do that. So it's really cool. Woohoo! Ad hoc comment of the day, TensorFlow is horrible. I have to start refreshing in linear algebra. Man, I haven't actually messed with linear algebra in quite a long time. And yes, Razor does default to using Bootstrap. So out of the box, when you set up a new, essentially ASP.NET Core web project, it comes with the this site.js file, and it comes with a lib with Bootstrap, jQuery, and a couple of subparts of jQuery. But this is what it comes with. So if you are running it, you get some basic things set up for you by default. What branch am I currently on? That is a fantastic question, Async Awake. I am using the ASP.NET conversion branch, which is basically the one where we're going to keep all the stuff that is about converting to ASP.NET. So if someone does want to contribute to this, send your pull request to this branch instead of to the master branch. So if you want to do something related to our ASP.NET conversion, this is where to do it. Okay, So I am actually going to say adding a mockup for the games managing page. So what I want to do here now is we've got these, I want to create links to those pages that we created. So right now, if I can load the right thing, this is what we've got, and I want to make one of these be the one we want. So let's do, for Hangman, it is going to be a link to, and I don't know why we've got them in p tags, but it doesn't really matter. We're going to do a link to ASP page, and the page is going to be something I'm going to move, so I'm going to move it first. So we have our games here, but I am actually going to drop them inside the game folder. So it's warning me there because this is going to change structure a little bit. So that changes URLs, and actually will change some namespaces as well. So I'm going to edit those in a little bit and not get them just yet. So we can move that in there. And then in order to link to this now, I want to do the Hangman game. So you'll see that I can then say, I think I should be able to say Hangman/index. And then that is the structure to get to that from the game page that we're on. There's a bird on my window. That's weird. That'll be funny when that... Alright guys, one of the mods put that in a quote, because that is weird. Okay, so this is manage Hangman words. So those are that's where we should manage the Hangman words. I am going to add a similar one down here. What is actually on our... We don't have the heist one yet. So we're not going to have the heist one. But we have one for... Oh, I shouldn't have moved quotes. Yeah, see? Just quiz questions. And then... let's put this down here. We are going to say P, and then inside of this we're going to make an anchor tag, and we're going to say ASP page, and we're going to say quiz questions index. Let's see, region defaults, CMD, help quote. Ah, yeah, see? Async awake looking up how to do quotes. So all those commands that you see async awake doing in there, those are all commands that are actually running in the bot, and you can actually see the report here. So you can see async awake is running the commands command, async awake is running the help command. So you can actually see all through here everything that's getting triggered, so it's really neat. Okay, so quiz questions index, let's go take a look at that. So now that we've linked to it, when we refresh this, we should get links, and we'll see if I directed them. Nice. Ooh, interesting. There we go. Oh, I didn't even put a thing here. That's weird. We're gonna say edit questions. Okay, refresh that page. Did that link right? Games, quiz questions, Hangman. Perfect. Perfect. There we go. So those updated as expected, and we now have links to get there. So we can go to manage games, and then we can manage Hangman words. So clearly this is going to need styling and things like that. We're going to have to, you know, get better structure and things like that. But hey, at least it's starting to get there. So that is always nice. Let's get ourselves a quick commit here. So this is... I'm actually going to do this one separately. Where's my new page? Games, this one. So that's the links. So everything else was just moving existing pages. So move quiz and okay, move quiz questions and Hangman pages into games folder. And in theory, it figured out that those were renames. Yes, so see, because I committed those like that, it noticed they were renames. So what I'm going to do now that I've done that is now I'm going to make the change of the namespace, because I didn't want to do that here, because the fewer changes, the more likely it is that Git will just recognize that it was a rename and not a delete and recreate of a file. So that's actually why I did that way. Adding links to the games editing pages. So we're going to, whoops, check that box, commit that. Okay, let's see, what did people say? Site of web, yes, Janiscu, this is a website. If you need a security-based things for the bot, I could gladly do some penetration. Oh, Cute Cat, that would actually be quite fun, actually. So, and thank you for getting an issue set up there, Async Awake. Much appreciated. Oh, never mind. So Async Awake's saying that you'd already created one. So that could be cool. How hard it is to implement the Google two-factor auth thing to a random program? Which, you mean Google's two-factor auth? Depends on what you mean by random program, but it should not be too difficult. I don't know what framework, language, etc. you're running, but most of them are able to do it pretty well. That's Google's whole thing, is making sure that it's easy for you to connect that. That's how you get control of services. So, okay, so that gets us those reasonably okay set up there. Nothing fancy. Let's go ahead and fix these namespaces. So what I am going to do is this. I want to replace this, so I am going to take this, put it in there, this in here, and I am going to add the word games to this, and I am going to say replace that in the entire solution. So everywhere we did that. Do I want to continue? Yep, go ahead and open all the files, please. There shouldn't actually be that many, so 5 occurrences, so it opens up all the files. And now, in all of these files, I want to say everything that has this, we are going to replace with pages.games. Oh, actually, yeah, that should work fine. Entire solution. We're going to do that. That should be about 5 also. There we go. Now I'm going to make sure the site still works at all. As long as it does, after we make the namespace change, I am going to call that good. So we did our namespace change and our rebuild, and these pages appear to still work. So that is good. And just as a quick test that things work at all, we're going to open this up, and we are going to say another hangman word is Google, and another one is micro, and we're going to say saft, microsaft, because we want to come down here and we want to test out the edit page. Make that one Microsoft, and yeah, okay, good. Everything is working. So I am going to go ahead and commit this namespace change. So that should be what it is in each one of these, just a namespace change, nothing else. Yep, that looks good. Move the, update the namespaces for the moved pages. Okay, great. That is nice. So we did the actual move of the files. So that's the rename, link, and then update the namespaces. Very good set of commits. I'm happy with those. Yes, there are always ways of bypassing security measures. Some of them include using the password. I try to explain that to people. It's like, oh yeah, we want this 100% secure. It's like, well, then you need to make it completely inaccessible even to any user. That is the only way something is entirely secure. But you can make it more secure than it was before. I guess I was thinking about writing the algorithm yourself, but that kind of goes against the whole point of security. Yeah, WorldWake, So it's fun to re-implement things. So if you want to write code for a two-factor auth, or even like passwords, things like that, go ahead and do that as a fun exercise, but don't deploy the code anywhere. So that's one of those, like, yeah, it's fun, but you really do want to use an authentication system that is developed by a group of people that know what they're doing, because you really don't want to mess that up. So it's why I tell people, for example, if you're in the .NET space, use the tools that Microsoft got you for authentication and authorization. That doesn't mean that you can't, find ways of improving them and increasing what they do, either making them more secure or adding more features to them. But I would also still recommend, even when you're doing that, talk with someone that actually knows more about security than you do. No. Yeah, so cute cat. That is not really a password. That is that's the hangman word, I think. I think masked password is hangman. Yeah, that's just hangman. We could call it the secret instead of the password. I will go ahead and show you what what that is. So that is where is it? Masked. Yeah, so masked passwords right here. Passwords right here. These aren't actually like login passwords. I should rename those. So actually, if someone wants to send a pull request on that, that would be a really easy pull request to send in. If you are so inclined and interested in contributing to an open source project, you could send a rename of those or something fixing them up in some way. So make it a little more readable, make it a little nicer. That tends to be the type of thing that I like doing, is make your code a little bit nicer than when you got there. Because every time we add new stuff, we usually we add a little bit of clutter. So it's always good to come back, clean up some of that clutter. Okay, so we added in those links. This piece works. So the other one we had here that we didn't fill in was the heist game. So we should add something for the heist game as well. So let's go ahead and create a folder for that. So we're going to say heist. Heist. That'll be good enough. Hop in here, add Razor page. We're going to do a CRUD one. And that's what we want. And then this should be heist. Heist mission. I think that's the one we want. Let me take a look. Those might not be in data yet. No, they're not in data yet. Okay, so we need to move those to data. So some of the projects we do in here, we start off just having them hard-coded, and then we move it to data, because we build the project on the stream, and then we move it to the right spot. So those are still hard-coded right now, so I can't do an editor page for that. So we're not going to do this one just yet. So let's back that one up. Let's jump over here. Yep, we don't need that. Save. Did that go away? There we go. Okay, what's the file name that contains the way you do commands? You mean like where we execute commands? I can show you where we execute commands. Command handler. So if you take a look in here, this is where commands get executed. So command handler executes ibot commands. Okay, so we got that going. A couple of things that we want to look at. So we have that, we have editor pages. I don't want to send a command through there. What else could we modify? Let's take a look at our home page. Bot administration, delay in minutes. So some of these things are going to be on this page, some are going to have to go elsewhere. I think command configure. So there needs to be a set of commands. So we need to be able to manage commands. So let's take a look at that. So we have a games section. Let's make a commands section. So add new folder. We're going to call it commands. And then inside of here, we are going to add in a razor page, an index page. So you generally want an index page in the root of this, and it's kind of annoying that you end up with like an index named one each time. No problem, cute cat. Yeah, it's one of those things that's annoying in Twitch. When you refresh and you reconnect to the chat, you don't get any of the chat history, which is kind of disappointing. I wish they would like pull the most recent messages. You know, like maybe the most recent 10 messages or something like that. It would be quite nice if they did that. So if you missed what I said about the page, it's the command handler is the page where that's the file that does the actual running of ibot commands. So that's where that code is. Async awake. Oh, you use Chatty for that. That's cool. I actually just have, I just use the chat that's built into Streamlabs OBS because I need to have Streamlabs OBS open anyway. So I keep that one running. And then it doesn't matter whether or not I have another page up and running. So, okay, so I should have just created a new page right here. This is the one. And what we're going to do with this one is set it up to work basically the same way the other one did. So I'm going to steal that code again. So we're going to take this one, and this one's trimmed down a little bit better than our previous one, so I like that. And yes, we are going to extract out a template that these are all going to use. So we're going to want like a partial or something like that in order to make this a little bit nicer. But I also want to solve a couple of other problems. On our last stream, when we were pairing with James Chambers last Thursday, we were discussing the idea of wanting to create there were some features we wanted to create around creating nav bars and things like that to be a little nicer. We were tossing around some ideas for a potential project that we might work on. Tool or something that would make it easier to do navigation in ASP.NET core sites. The old chat had a history. Yeah, WTF Blub. So what was the file again for the command input? The command handler is where we actually pull in the commands. I'm not sure which thing you're looking for there, cute cat, but if you start from here, you should be able to find what you're looking for. When we get commands, they come in through this command received event, and then we figure out if there is one that should execute based on the arguments we received, and then execute it down here, depending on whether we found that we had a cooldown we needed to respect or not. Pinblack, welcome. Hi. For the bot to tell if someone did blank in the Twitch chat. Oh, cute cat. We don't actually check that piece ourselves. We don't need to. So we are using an open source C# library, and actually we get the maintainers of that library in here and in our Discord pretty regularly. The library that we're using is a NuGet package called TwitchLib. And if you take a look at that, you'll see that we depend on TwitchLib right here. And TwitchLib is also out on GitHub. And I can show you where that lives. TwitchLib is right over here. And they have a set of libraries that do that connection for us. So we could make these connections to the Twitch chat and check that ourselves. But they'll send us this. Yeah, sure. So if you want to check out TwitchLib, it is right here. Renzo, hey, welcome. Hopefully everybody's having a good Monday. is Monday afternoon here. It's actually a pretty nice day out. It's nice and sunny where I am, which I'm a developer, so that means I'm inside of a building, not out enjoying the weather. But I can wish that I were outside enjoying some of this weather. So this is the commands page. So our title will be manage commands. And then we're going to say, let's nuke one of those. And then let's actually not pull in as many of these as I did. I'm going to do that. There we go. Okay, so we're not managing the Hangman game. This is going to be configure commands command. So we'll call this configure commands command. Renzo, well, welcome. Thanks for following. Hopefully that means you're enjoying DevChatter a little bit. Let's see. Hi. I linked to that. Thanks. You got yourself a new follower. Awesome. I have a question, though. I'm pretty new to programming, but I really want to learn and get better. That is a really good thing. The best tip I could give you is just keep writing code and try to enjoy it. One of the best things that I can tell any developer that's starting out, never lose that that sense of fun and accomplishment whenever even the simplest thing works. So what you'll find here is we'll mess around with something and a little thing will pop up on screen and it's like, yeah, it's the smallest thing, but it's like, that's awesome, that's working. So keep that and you will be a happy and productive developer. So C++ is an interesting language, but jumping from HTML to C++ could be a tough one. C++ is a lower level language. You're welcome to jump to it. I used C++ pretty early on in my career as well. It's a fun language. So if you really want to dive in, that is a way to dive right into the deep end. But if you want something easier, I recommend C#. It's the language I use, but there are plenty of other good ones. You could use Ruby, you could use Python, you could use Java. Like, there are so many great programming languages and tools and frameworks out there that it's hard for me not to say that it would be hard to go wrong. There are some languages where the community around them is dying out, so I would look for that. So look for one that has a good, vibrant community, and that's probably a nice place to be. What is the difference between an IEnumerable of T and an IEnumerable? That is actually an easy question to answer. One of those cares about type and the other one doesn't. So one is going to make generic instances, the others will not. So in IEnumerable, you don't know the type of the objects that you're enumerating over. So essentially, that has an iterator that will just get you the next item, always as an object. Whereas an IEnumerable of T, I would have to get into the explanation of actually how generics work in C#, which I can do, but I don't think that's one that you really want me to get into today, because I think a lot of people in here won't probably appreciate that one. But the short answer for how that works is that languages that use generics often create instances for the types they need to be able to run as generics, and then when they need to, they create methods for those and execute those. So when you create an IEnumerable of T, for example, that could be a list of T, that means that your list of T is going to actually have implementations for any given type that you might use. So if it's a list of string, if it's a list of ints, that's two versions of that object that need to be created at runtime so that C# can handle those lists. And essentially they're just there to get you the next item. So an enumerable is always just about getting the next item. So that's why it's not really a collection per se, because you don't really need to have a collection exist you don't need to have a collection exist for an IEnumerable to work. So that's the short thing. And Async Awake is right. Actually, contributing to open source projects, you actually can do that as a budding early developer. You do not need to be some experienced developer who's been, programming for years. You can jump in and actually work on them right now. So write code, and that's pretty much the best suggestion I can give. C# is pretty good for... Yes, exactly. Lots of good resources on C#. So that's one of the... It has a strong community. Let's see. Is it possible to get it running on a server box and get me access to the box's terminal? Cute Kitty, you talking about the... you talking about getting the bot running somewhere? I'm not planning on getting the bot running anywhere, if that's what you mean. And Renzo, yep, have a good one. And yeah, we will be streaming again tomorrow. So if anybody is looking for something to do tomorrow afternoon around this time, we will be streaming again. And some people are lurking. Okay, so let's make this code a little bit better. So we added this piece. These are not linking to the items yet, but we will be adding that. Configure cooldown, set starting text, configure work settings, hang on. Has the features of running in a console and program C. Yeah, Cute Cat, we actually have two program.cs's in here. This one starts up our web project, and this one starts up the console application, and we are planning on moving the bot entirely into the web app. Once we do that, we will have our bot 100% running inside of the web project, but until then, we actually have a separate command window that runs the bot. So it's actually just running right there. So, and I'm actually kind of surprised Nightbot didn't yell at you about that program.cs there. So, it's not a link, but I figured Nightbot would have probably thought it was one, because it's not very smart. It kind of thinks anything that could be a link is a link. So, okay, so let's go ahead and fix this up a little bit more. So we don't want these. We want new things. So in configure commands command, we want to have a couple of things. So we want to have a cooldown. Let's see. Manage. Let's see. Edit. Simple. Oh, or this. You know what? I think these are going to be this. Edit simple commands. Rock, paper, scissors game, huh? RPS rock. Janisku, yeah, these are. So we're going to end up with buttons here that do these things. Kind of. So this is going to be edit cooldown, edit that, hang on words. So some of these I think are just going to live here, and some of these are going to get put on pages. So this is going to be manage commands. So we're going to be in a folder commands. Of course we're going to be inside the commands. Because, you know, we end up with those fun names when you have the commands command inside of the commands folder. Of course we do. Commands, and then I'm going to have to make that commands command. That's not what I intended. Let's see. Anything else going on in there? It's like code I injected using Nightbot commands because the thing was... Oh! Yes. Exactly. Yeah, the Nightbot is not exactly the greatest bot ever made, although neither is our bot, but we do enjoy our bot. So, you know, gotta celebrate the small things. Also, always pick rock. Nothing beats rock. Just saying. That's right, Janisku, it's not rigged. I do seem to win rock, paper, scissors all the time in here, but you guys can see the code for the bot, so it would be really a challenge for me to have rigged it. Speaking of rigging things, last week at a there's a user group that I'm one of the founders of, local user group here, and at the user group we do a lot of programming at the end of things. So the way our group works is, when people show up, we start off by having some discussions of, we do lightning talks, so people can show up and they, you can talk for like, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, something like that about, whatever interesting, tech topic you really want to talk about. And we have people that, go up and talk about various things. And then when we're done with that, we usually eat some pizza and then write some code together. So either doing, programming exercises, programming katas, or some kind of like fun activity. And at our last one, we played a game called Rock, Paper, Boom. That's what we call it. And essentially, it is each person makes a bot that plays rock, paper, scissors, but it's not standard rock, paper, scissors. It is rock, paper, scissors with dynamite and water balloons, where dynamite beats rock, paper, and scissors, but loses to water balloon, and water balloon only beats dynamite. And then you might say, well, clearly, it becomes just throwing dynamite or water balloons and figuring out when, when they're going to throw a water balloon and trying to throw something else only then. Well, in order to avoid that, you're limited down to only being able to throw... you're going to play, each bot is going to play every other bot 1,000 times, and you can only throw 100 sticks of dynamite. So only, only 100 of your 1,000 rounds of playing rock, paper, scissors could be dynamite. So your AI needs to figure out when to use those effectively, and try and predict based on other things what to play to beat your opponent. So we had fun playing that. So I brought this up because I was talking about rigging things. Yeah, you end up with water and dynamite. Yeah, because it puts the fuse out, is the idea, Janiscu. Once it gets wet, it's not going to explode anymore. But anyway, so the whole thing is written in JavaScript, and it's not exactly written to be secure because everybody that's running against this is all sitting in the same room. So we were having fun playing this, and I uploaded a bot that required in the game, and the method that determines who wins each round, I just had it go in and just say, it does all the regular logic unless the bot is called CheaterBot, and then CheaterBot is able to... it just returns back a win every time, no matter what was thrown. So you can throw rock, paper, scissors, dynamite, water balloon, doesn't matter. If CheaterBot was one of the two players, it wins. So that was my that was my bot. I legitimately I had a bot that was always in first or second place, but then I just did that one because it was like, why not? This will be fun. So I tossed in CheaterBot. The funny thing is, it was me and another guy that were competing for the first place spot. That's why I was saying I was either in first or second. We were just going back and forth, taking it from each other. And apparently both of us had switched to making a cheater bot at about the same time. And I was the one that got mine working. So, it's just kind of funny. Cheater bot. Because who doesn't want to make cheater bot? Okay. Let's see. Manage the command... configure commands command. Configure... commands, command. And this will just be view data, title. There we go. All right. RMCS. I don't actually care about that. Why did I even click that button? That is commands. And there's commands command. Adding commands and commands command. So just stubbing in the basic structure that we're going to have here. And it'll be pretty obvious which ones of these things. Oh my god. Janiscu, you really typed in rock, paper, scissors, huh? One bot has 6. Okay. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we could do some kind of a dice game too at some point if people are interested. Actually, now that I think about it, we could make a roll command that would roll dice for us. We could certainly do that kind of a thing. That'd be an interesting one. So, in fact, I am going to... Oh, look at that! Nothing beats rock! There you go. Did it randomly assign me rock when I didn't pick? Yeah, it totally did. Boom! Yep, Sven, DevChatter, Janisku all win. There you go. Oh, I do need a table flip command. Hang on. Let's see. Table here, flip this, and then say commands, add that, everyone. Whoops. Apparently I messed that up. Helps if you type it correctly, Brendan. There we go, removing the flip command. Alright, so cmd add flip. There we go. Flip. No! Dang it, it's not working. Gotta figure out why the bot's not sending in that emote. For coin game where you flip the coins and get head or tails. Oh, okay, yeah, we could do a coin flip too. Well, I'm gonna remove that command. Delete, flip. Sorry guys, the flip command didn't work for some reason. I'm gonna have to look why the emotes weren't coming in there. Okay, so we've got that. Let's take a look. So I need to jump back to the shared layout page, and this is where we edit our top navigation. So I'm going to come down here and I'm going to say manage commands. And we don't need a contact and about page actually, so I'm going to nuke a couple of things here. In fact, I'm going to nuke them here as well, so goodbye contacts and about. Oh, WTF Blub, yeah, okay, yeah, that's why. Right, and the bot isn't Twitch Prime, I forgot about that. Yep, so no table flip. Yeah, that's a bummer, let's see, manage commands, so let's take a look. This just needed a recompile. That's, I believe, the only reason we've got that right now. Oops, commands, index. Home, manage command, manage games. So, commands, games. Okay. That works. Game tracker, bot website. Good idea. Doesn't. Wait. Oh, yeah. So Sven, in the commands command, if that's what you're talking about, we do need to make it so that there's an asterisk for which ones you can start, because that's the weird part, is that you can use the hangman command. Everyone can do it. So we need like some kind of an indicator of like, these are the ones you can use at all versus these are the ones that you could really do. So there is a suggestion to change that so that commands, so that games aren't listed there, for example. And we have a separate games command would be the idea. So you'd do a games command and that would show you the list of games. and then you could see which ones you could do there. Because the problem is that with a lot of commands, you know, there might be something about the command that anyone can do, but only certain people can do certain things with it. So, like, anyone can play in a Hangman game, but only a subscriber can start it. Anybody can run the commands command, but only certain people can add commands using the commands command. So there's restrictions in there that we do want to figure out. And part of that's just because we want to build that kind of stuff into the bot. So, and it works pretty well. For example, like most of the commands that we create where the bot just responds with something, like, you know, the Discord or the GitHub one, like those are just like, yeah, everybody can run this. And those are like a weird set of commands. Like they're just things that just do a thing and just have the bot respond. So there's not really much to them. But they're interesting ones. Okay, so let me go ahead and commit this. So I'm going to actually do this, yeah, all at once. So we're going to say remove about and contact pages link to manage commands. Okay. And I'm going to push that up. So that's not bad. I'm liking these changes so far. I'm liking our site. It is not pretty, but it doesn't need to be pretty. So, as it is basically, it's going to get some design eventually, but we don't need it to actually be nice. It's website under construction. Little bits of animation, flashing lights. Oh man, the 90s nostalgia right there. Ah, the 90s nostalgia's real. They're not quite pixely enough, but still good. Okay, so I like that. That'll be good. Let's take a look at our project here. Add protection against chat DDoS attacks. Oh, yeah. Weird. Yeah, that'd be... That is an interesting problem. I didn't think about that. So, let's see. This is an enhancement that we'll probably actually want help with at some point. That doesn't mean that I won't just bring on a guest and do this, but it's a big one. And that should be good. Okay. There we go. That'll be a nice one. And, let's see. Take a look while we're in here. On stream, what do we have? Anything? Okay, we don't have anything claimed on stream right now. Connect Discord. No currency to known bots. Yeah, we do still need to wrap that. Add your status manager. Connect the soundboard project. Those to command with parameters. Oh, I really do still like that one. Add missing game. Add mining game for tokens. Include end user support for commands command user specific limitations. Ah, yes, here it is. The question that Sven brought up. This one. This is exactly what you were looking for. Add mini. Okay. Interesting set of stuff there. Trying to think, do we want to continue on this one right now, or do we want to move to one of the other ones? I guess we'll stay on this for a little bit. We'll keep working on our site. There's something I want to take a look at. Oops, not that. Manage NuGet packages. Whoops, meant to click there. Blazor context menu. Just wonder what people have put in here about this. SNMT Blazor sensors. Blazor geolocation. Interesting. People have come up with some interesting stuff to do with this. So, I don't know if I mentioned it, but we're planning on doing Blazor on the front end of this. So, we'll see what we get in there. Either way, let's talk about what we're going to do in the future of this project. Sven, I am not using the VS Preview. This is full Visual Studio 2017, the current version. However, I do have the preview installed, so this is the preview right here. I always keep both of them installed, because you can side-by-side these pretty easily, so I often have you know, 3 or 4 versions of Visual Studio installed on my computers at any given time. And I meant to click that button, but I already closed it. So, and yeah, I did reinstall ReSharper relatively recently. So that's why it popped up the message about keyboard shortcuts. Let me close the preview there. I know it's just for the Blazors. Oh, yeah. So I do have it installed over there. Technically, I have Blazor installed in both VS 2017 and in VS 2017 Preview. So Blazor is actually installed on my computer in both of those. So if I were to file new project, for example, I'm going to cancel out of that so it doesn't nuke the one we're in here. But we should have the ability to actually make a Blazor site. Let's see, it's probably going to nuke my solution, isn't it? Because I said new thing. Yeah, so Blazor ASP.NET Core hosted. So you'll see those are still there. So I do have those. Is it already available in the... yeah, no, this isn't the preview. I've got Blazor in here. You just saw it. So, because there's... you just need to have the 2.1 RC installed and everything, so it's in here. Here, I'll prove it. Installed Blazor, it's right here. See? I literally installed an update today to this. And it wants me to be running this as an admin, because of course it does. Thanks, Blazor. I don't like running it as an admin, because I let a whole bunch of people connect to it through my chat bot. So it seems like a bad idea to have the bot running as admin. Yeah, so if you grab the update, you should be able to run Blazor without running the preview bits now. So... yep. Good stuff. Okay, what else do we want to take a look at today? So, okay, a couple of things. So, future stuff, I want to talk to you all about future streams that we are planning on doing. Streams, I've got that in here. I am going to add in a section on here. So, I am going to make planned or wishful streams. So some things that we want to do on here, creating a statically generated site for DevChatter.com, hosting statically generated site on Azure. Other things that we want to do as some cool streams, styling our site / bot with a designer. Let's call it pair programming the design of our site / bot with a designer. We want to set this up with a poor design that can assist with. I have a few designers that I think would be good candidates for this. Ones that speak at conferences and things like that, that are fairly good designers that I think would be a lot of fun to have on stream. So I want to bring them on for that. DigiCress. I can absolutely explain what a statically generated site means. So if I were to build a site that is running a content management or content management system or something like that, a CMS, the way that those work is there is some kind of server-side code that's running, something like ASP.NET or PHP or Java, that is going to be executed, and when you run that code, it is going to create HTML that is sent back to the browser to view. If you have a statically generated site, that means that the pages sent down to the browser are literal HTML files that are saved. So a statically generated site means that you run a process that takes your data, creates a site from it. So think like standard old style, like just HTML pages. Now the reason that you do this is you do this for sites that are brochure sites, things like that, where there's not going to be all that much. They're great for blogs and things like that. So this is a newer concept. They also work for a brochure site for a company where you're going to put information about your site, ways of contacting you, and things that are going to run through JavaScript, but not really need that much of a back end. So it could also talk to an API still through that JavaScript, so that doesn't mean that there's no interactivity. But the static site has a lot of benefits. One of those benefits of a static site is it can be cached like crazy by browsers, by web servers and things like that, and requires almost no resources to run. So you can have like a super lightning fast website that is, stupid cheap to host wherever you want, and you don't have to be running ASP.NET or anything like that. So you could host the site on any machine with any resources, and it isn't a big deal. So statically generated, it's an awesome stuff, and we are definitely gonna do that one on stream. I am actually coordinating with the creator of one of those statically generated site tools, so one of the programs that will do this process for you. So essentially you give it your content in one structure and it creates a site from that. So you commit changes, recompile, and recreate the site each time you need to make an update, but that's an automated process, so it doesn't require effort really. It's just commit your changes and they go live. So we already have that in the works, and yeah, so I think it should be quite fun. Designers also like it because what they get to do then is they don't get any strange markup. They get a lot more control of it. These still have like theming systems and things like that for how to create them, but should still work nicely. Planned or wishful schemes, pair programming the design of a site or bot. Architecture, review and refactoring stream. Couple of others. There is a programming competition stream. I want to do one of those, and I've already talked with some of the developers that are going to be in that one, I think. Other like Microsoft MVP type people. that I'm talking with that I think would be good candidates to have a like a fun like programming challenge, like programming competition, which I think could be good. So let's see, adding planned streams. Okay, there we go. So those are some of the things that we want to do in the future. As I mentioned, I am talking with more guests that we're going to be having on stream. I mentioned that we're possibly going to do a pair programming Azure stream tomorrow, but I don't think we're going to. I think I want to shift that one back a couple of weeks, so we'll probably do that one on June 5th. So that'll come up once I add that to this. And actually, I just realized I should edit this because that's now last week. So this week, next week, and now let's get rid of this one. I tried to click on the numbers because that's what I do everywhere else, and I'm not sure if that works here. I thought it did, but maybe I'm wrong. Alright, so now that's updated this week, next week. Planned or wishful stream, stream goals. Looks good. Okay, so for anybody that doesn't know, we actually stream 4 times a week here, Monday, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, so if you are new, keep that in mind. But I actually need to wrap a little early today, so I don't want anybody to get too upset about that. So I'm going to do a couple of things. First off, I want to remind everyone that all of our code is out on GitHub, and you are welcome to contribute. We've had a lot of good contributions from members of our community here at DevChatter. We actually get way more than I ever could have expected contributions and interactivity from the community, so I want to thank all of you for that. You've been awesome. Speaking of awesome, Tibby64, thank you for following, and welcome to DevChatter. Hopefully you're enjoying the stream. So I think we've had a lot of success. We are nearing our goal that you might have seen on that last screen that I had up. We have a goal set for 1,024 followers. When we hit that number, I'm going to do some kind of a prize giveaway. Could be licensed to something, or calendar or something like that. We'll figure it out. But then I also want to schedule a special stream. So probably going to do something fun. I have not decided what our celebratory stream is for that one. And there's the Streamlabs announcement for Tibby, so welcome, Tibby. And then a couple of other things. If you are interested in continuing to talk with any of us after the stream, there are many of our community members are actually over on Discord, which is a chat application that is commonly used by gamers, but there are a lot of, most Twitch channels have an associated Discord, a lot of them do, and just because we're a programming channel, not a gaming channel, we still do a Discord chat, so that is actually a place that has a number of different rooms. So if you want to talk about Azure, you can go to the Azure room, talk about Azure. You want to talk about .NET, go to the .NET room and talk about that. We have people that talk about tech in there, and people that contribute to the project will often talk about what they're doing in the project in there. So when someone's doing a pull request or something like that, they'll usually discuss it before they send it in. So there's those sorts of things. If you want to check out our Discord, there is a link to it there. Additionally, we have our Twitter account and our YouTube channel, which I have linked there as well. So if you are interested in checking out any of those things, follow us wherever. Clicking the follow button here in Twitch is one of the best ways to get notified when we go live. But obviously following us on Twitter or being on the Discord or other places, as I will always alert those as well. But following us on Twitch will get you a better notification, as that one will be direct. And our YouTube channel will do the same thing. Most of the archives for our videos are here in the video section on Twitch, but for all of our older videos, they are over on YouTube. So after a while, Twitch expires them, and we make sure that we get expired videos over onto YouTube so that you can check them out there. And other than that, I want to thank everybody for showing up today, for following. I want to thank C# Fritz for hosting us today, Crimson Green Thank you for the 3-month resub. Always appreciated. So Crimson Green has been a subscriber here for 3 months, which is awesome. Because our channel has only been hasn't even been going 4 months yet, and we have had tremendous feedback from the community. So I want to thank everybody for showing up today, and I look forward to seeing you all in about 22 hours. So tomorrow we are going to be doing some more code. As I said, it might be Azure stuff, but it's going to depend on the guest. So we're either pair programming on Azure tomorrow, or that's going to be in 2 weeks. We'll see. Either way, I want to thank everybody for stopping by today, and I want to wish you all a great rest of your Monday. And right before I'm out, thank you RootCL for the follow. And hopefully everybody else is in here is already a follower, and if you're not, click that button, and I will catch you all tomorrow. Happy coding, everyone. Take care of yourselves.